Ray Dalio finally says, I have some Bitcoin. This is a CoinDesk story. Concerns about a looming global debt crisis have taken the world's top hedge fund manager from doubting Bitcoin to dabbling in it. Ray Dalio said the U.S. dollar is on the verge of devaluation on a level last seen in 1971, and that China has threatened the greenback's role as the world's reserve currency. In such an environment, Bitcoin, with its gold-like properties, looks increasingly attractive as a savings vehicle, said Dalio, out of all the people whose firm started 2021 with $10.9 billion in assets under management, making it the world's largest hedge fund, $101 billion in management. My apologies, not 10.1, $101 billion under management. And he said, I have some Bitcoin. Dalio volunteered in the middle of an interview with CoinDesk Chief Content Officer Michael Casey. Dalio's off-the-cuff remark to CoinDesk about owning some Bitcoin represents the closest thing to an endorsement from him to date. Nonetheless, in the same conversation, he reiterated his concern that governments fearing competition from Bitcoin to state monetary system could crack down on its owners. Bitcoin's greatest risk is its success. Dalio cautioned. Gerard, thoughts?
Oh, man, who am I to doubt Ray Dalio? But if the governments could have done anything about Bitcoin, they would have done it already.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so?
Absolutely.
So you think if they could have, they would have already done it. That's your position on it.
Yeah, the more I'm huge into crypto. I'm massive into crypto. I'm a big fan. I got into it about 4 or 5 years ago, and I got to give a shout out, a plug to my Antagonistic America podcast. I had a crypto expert, one of the very first miners in America, Eric Gallison, on.
Yeah.
And he was explaining to me blockchain and exactly what it would take to actually mess with Bitcoin at this point. With over 100 million users worldwide, somebody would have to hack into over 51 million different individual servers across nations. It would take
for that to take place.
It would take like a worldwide government. Like the only way like Bitcoin could possibly be defrauded essentially, or really Ethereum even more so, that could possibly be defrauded would be if, let's say, China ends up winning the world and they take over the entire world. And then they'd be able to go and get each of those 100+ million servers. And that would individually have to do that. And that would assume that then they took control of all of the satellites. They have all the cloud space. It's a functional impossibility, really, to do it. I know your boy Dan Pena may disagree with this, but I am all in on the crypto future. And I think it's not really what the banks say. Look at what the banks have done over the last 6 months. Look at how they've entered. They have ETFs. They're doing crypto buys in their hedges and stuff like that now. Don't worry about what they say. Worry about what they do. And Ray Dalio says, I have some Bitcoin. I bet you that sum is a
When he says sum,
number.
what do you think that sum is? He says, I have some Bitcoin. How much do you think sum is to Ray Dalio? He's worth 20 plus
he's
billion.
the kind of guy that says some Bitcoin. He might have $10 million in Bitcoin. That's some Bitcoin to Ray Dalio.
So you think it's a $10 million number?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
What do you think sum is to him? A guy worth 20, what is sum?
I think it's an ever increasing amount. Let me put it that
so
way.
it is. Do you think it's more or less than 10 million?
More.
More than 10 million? More than 50?
No,
okay, so around
no,
10 or 50 million dollars is what you're
It might
thinking.
not even be 10 million.
What's 1% of his net worth?
First of all, if somebody wanted to go find out how much Bitcoin he has, somebody could actually dig in and find out how much Bitcoin the guy's got.
Did you
It's
see
not
that
hard
they
to do
found, BuzzFeed found Joe Biden's Venmo, speaking of?
BuzzFeed found Joe Biden's Venmo?
Not to get off topic here.
But let's get off topic.
It took BuzzFeed, the gender studies majors at BuzzFeed, 10 minutes to find our president's Venmo account and his 150 friends.
How much was in it? What was the deal?
It was a public Venmo account, and and it had the people who was paying him and who wasn't. And then they asked the White House to comment, and they took it down. They took his, so it was his. If these people. All right?
Wow.
So again, we're talking about worried about Bitcoin. Well, the governments are going to manipulate Bitcoin. Well, why don't you worry about the president of the United States as a public Venmo that
He's sloppy.
Yeah.
He's sloppy. So
that
back to
a Starbucks barista found.
Back to you. You don't think the government is going to come in and try to regulate?
I think they've tried
the Bitcoin at all. You think it's done?
I think they've tried.
You out of your mind, Gerard Michaels.
How do you regulate an international currency? How do you regulate?
They'll figure it out. Believe me.
They're trying. They can't.
So that's it. They're done. You said that they're not going to regulate anymore, and it's over.
You can't beat them, buy them. They're gonna tie into it.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. So for me, if you think about it, here's Ray Dalio. If you're saying they can't, I've been saying the same thing for years about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. I've been saying the same thing. I'm saying technology, Great. It's going in that direction. Phenomenal. There's nothing you can do about it. That's here to stay.
And I will never bet against the private sector on the government's behalf.
I get that, but I will also never bet against the government sector to want to regulate anything they can get their hands on.
I agree.
Anything they can get their hands on. And the way they do it is they can do it through if they want to control, like right now, for example, one of the things that's coming up right now is the fact that how Biden's talking about we shouldn't be driving all cars that are gas. Gas cars, right?
So 460 gas in California when you sent me out there?
Exactly. So 460 gas per gallon when you go to California. And this was just, what, a couple days ago, 3 days ago, right? So for them, you know what the government can do if they really wanted to? Can they raise taxes to raise gas to $10 a gallon? Can they do that?
The government?
Can the government do that?
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to, yeah.
Can the government do that?
They can restrict supply.
They can restrict supply. What else can they do? What else can they do?
Taxes?
They can raise taxes. What else can they do? The government can dictate which way you spend your money. You have to look at taxes and the government as a compensation plan. Whatever way they adjust the compensation plan, we as consumers, we as citizens, we respond to whatever tax plan they come up with. Okay, so if they don't want us to go out there and spend money buying gas because they want us to drive electrical cars, you know, they can increase it to $10 a gallon. Then what happens? Behavior changes. So regulating Bitcoin or cryptocurrency isn't saying we're watching you. They can add the dumbest taxes on it to do whatever they can to control it. Their way of regulating isn't the same as regulating other products. We're not talking about, like, you know, back in the days, Joseph Kennedy said, hey, you guys are selling stocks, you guys are selling mutual funds, here's what we're doing. FDR brings Joseph Kennedy because Joseph Kennedy is the one that manipulated the market, the great whole, you know, the whole 1929 crash that took place. He said, I want you to come and help me out here. He says, you know what, here's what we're going to be doing. Moving forward, anybody that wants to sell any kind of securities and you're touching cash, you got to do fingerprints. What are you talking about? You guys got to drive down. People drove down to New York to get fingerprinting to be able to sell stocks and bonds and mutual funds, right? Back in the days. You know, people are still doing fingerprinting today. No one's touching cash. But if you get securities license, you still got to do fingerprinting. This isn't about the kind of regulation that maybe you're thinking about. I think the regulation that they could do is very creative. One could be heavy-duty taxes. It's just a thought.
It just depends on what, like, for instance, is it a security? Is it a currency? Is it a store of value? Is it a commodity? Whatever category it's going to fall in, it's going to get regulated by something, whether it's the SEC or FINRA, whoever regulates commodities. Like,
to that point,
for you to say that they're not going to do any regulation ever.
That's not what I said.
I think is
I want to be very clear.
The wrong side of the coin.
I want to be very clear. That's not what I'm saying. I agree with both of you that they are going to try. They have been trying. Part of this capital gains increase is specific to crypto earnings. But there's first of all, the retail investor is not in crypto deep. Less than 1% of the population owns crypto right now. And look at the valuation. Again, it's only 10 years in. Look at the value of this. It has no tangible value yet. You're not buying things. You're not using things on an everyday. And look at the price. So in 10 years, when 5% of the population has crypto and you're able to go into a store and use it, think of what the price is going to be. So if they want to do sales tax on crypto, once it's a tangible currency, I can understand that they're going to try to get their bite. But they're doing that now. They're trying to do it through capital gains. And what's happened is a secondary market has popped up. Real smart people aren't selling their crypto and taking that capital gains loss.
That's right.
We're taking loans off of crypto.
Pompliano said that. Pompliano said most crypto guys, they don't sell. They keep 90% of the guys, they're not selling.
Because that's when you pay your taxes on it.
Of course, capital gains.
I take loans off of my crypto. So there's a secondary exchange where you can literally put your crypto in, and then you take a loan off your crypto and you pay it back and you keep your crypto. So I'm able to extract value for it while keeping it, right? And I don't pay the capital gains on that. That's a secondary market that evolved. You have people in this particular industry who created this product specifically to circumvent regulation, specifically to circumvent federal and international overreach. So part of the reason I love crypto so much is it is more than a tangible. Blockchain is the future of technology. When you talk about Ethereum, don't think of Ethereum as a coin or as a token. Think of it as the World Wide Web in 1980. It's a blockchain, a system of how you're going to create interaction, social interaction, business interaction. It's an infrastructure, right? And I don't want to get
what is starting to happen though is Ethereum's starting to get more momentum than like amongst a lot of experts. people are highlighting what Ethereum does that's a lot more advanced technology-wise and usage-wise long-term than Bitcoin.
Long-term, do you think an Ethereum could
I'm not saying. I'm just saying what experts are saying.
Look at what you have to look at what you have to do to close on your house. Everything that you talked about, the days that what you have to do, the money in escrow, the payments that you have to make, the proof of purchase that you have to have, then the documents that you have to sign. All of that now becomes one token with Ethereum. You pay for a house with Ethereum, and the contract is on the token. It's all there. So it doesn't seem like a lot to people, but what's a day of your time worth at this point? What is your worth in a day? So if Ethereum can save you an entire day, what is that worth to you? As opposed to traditional signing of documents, and then who knows, could this be forged? I mean, this is antiquated. We're horse and buggy right now. This is analog. Ethereum is the future, man. Like there's so much beyond the speculative investing. It's fun, it's gambling, it's cool, and it's new. But the technology is game breaking.
But I'm going to tell you something here. So here's the real argument when you think about this. The fact that Dalio was saying it, I think Dalio is hedging himself. On one end, he's saying this could happen, regulation could take place. On the other hand, he's saying it could not happen. Meaning, if it's not going to happen, guess what? I'm going to also buy some stock. Buying a put or a call, you're buying like options against, you're kind of leveraging whatever you're buying to protect yourself, a stop loss, whatever maybe. You're playing both sides. But by the way, never has Dalio come up and said he's playing both sides. He's just never said that. Yeah. So the fact that a guy as brilliant as him, I've sat down with him, I've had great conversations with him, the guy as brilliant as him to say, I have some Bitcoin, he's not saying that without some motive behind it for his investors to be paying attention. He knows it's going to be written about in every other paper. So there's a hint he's given.
He waited until it was half price. He bought enough of it.
I think he's smart for doing it. But I will tell you this other part. This other thing to be thinking about with the Wall Street bets. Look at Wall Street bets, right? They went up against who? Everybody.
Against the hedge funds.
Everybody. And they ruined a lot of these guys.
Melvin Capital specifically.
Destroyed them. $2.75 billion. That was a
$7 billion, I think.
It's a massive number to the point where they had to go borrow money from each other.
And they closed all their short positions.
So to me, the community of Wall Street bets is the crypto community, okay? And the government, the regulators, the Janet Yellens of the world, those Elizabeth Warrens of the world, they're these big hedge fund managers that Wall Street bets went up against. You have to know that when that took place, thanks, babe. When that took place, you have to know, not you, babe, thanks to my wife. I know that sounds weird. Sam is walking away. Hey! He just called me babe. My wife gave it to you, you gave it to me. So thanks, babe, /Sam, okay?
Thanks, babe.
So Sam walked away, St. Pat called me babe. But
HR.
But the way I see it is, these billionaires, they have to make one phone call, and they just have to say, I just want you to know, remember that campaign I gave you? What was that all about? You can't let this happen again. So that part, they don't
understand the tech. I really don't.
You think crony capitalism is going away anytime soon?
No, I know, but it's specifically. You're right, but this stuff is specifically set up to counteract.
Oh,
that.
I get that.
So this could be ageism. And these are some of the smartest people in the world. Don't get me wrong. But they don't understand the technology.
I don't disagree with you.
Warren Buffett has straight up said, I don't invest what I don't understand.
That's even more of a reason why I believe scares the hell out of them.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't get it.
The fact that it scares the hell out of them, they're like, hey, listen, this is too much. Slow it down. What do we need to do? Hey, you know what? What is the card we can always pull on? Regulation. Put some regulation on it. Go out there and regulate them.
You know what this is right here?
What's that?
Time, baby. It's undefeated. They can be as rich as they want. Their time's running out.
It's not time, though. Listen. There are certain, so I was in a health insurance business 19 years ago, selling health net, selling, Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance, okay? And health insurance is actually good business to be a part of 20 years ago. Here's how it works. So if, let's just say you have a book of business. There was guys that was making $500,000 a year, golfing 5 days a week. Why? Because once you build a block of business, you were making 10% every month off the premium. So if you're paying $1,000 a month for your family's premium, guess what? I'm making what? $100. But it's $100 every month. So 10 years later, you build a block of business, you're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 every single month. And then comes out what? Obamacare. When Obamacare comes out, guess what happens? Obamacare now says, here's what we're doing. Here's the plans that we have. And then you have free enterprise competing against the government, right, for contracts. They can do whatever they can to make new laws and regulations to hurt everybody else. When you directly compete with the government has a card you don't have. That card is, we create the rules. You play by our rules. And the government, what they specifically don't like is the following. They don't like people like Elon Musk. They don't like people like Trump. They don't like the crypto community. You know why? Because they're going like this saying, hey, screw you. And they don't like when people say, screw you. They like when people say, we need you. World wouldn't be the same without you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, the Hunger Games syndrome. You're so bound down to you. So the crypto community is not bound down to anybody.
Yeah, some dogs like their leash. For sure.
So that's that part. Anyways, we'll see what's going to happen here.
And to wrap this up to put a bow on this with our friend Dalio, he came out, what was a famous thing that he said in Davos, Switzerland, a year and a half ago, right before Corona hit? He goes, cash is trash. Get the hell out of cash.
Yeah, he did say that.
So I would not be surprised if he, diversified his investments and got out of cash and bought some crypto or some Bitcoin, even though he might not be a firm believer in it. We know that he's not a believer in necessarily cash. And that timing couldn't have come worse for him, by the way.
I agree. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.